again for tuning in to season three. I can't go. Season three of TBI Uncovered. I'm Erica, your host. I'm a traumatic brain survivor looking to change the world one story at a time. TBI Uncovered is a platform that allows both traumatic and brain injury survivors, gunshot survivors, stroke survivors, AVM survivors, survivors of various brain conditions, survivors alike, the disability community, caregivers, medical professionals, organizations, and anyone associated with brain injuries to share their stories and provide tips plus resources and bring awareness to those impacted. On today's episode, my guest is a woman of empowerment. She's a female empowerment coach and speaker. She has an MS in psych and women's psych. Overall, she enjoys coaching women, empower women, and help us get our internal feedback system, allowing us to establish our own power. So I'm going to bring my next guest in. Her name is Tara. Tara.
Hi, hi,
Tara.Speaks.
Erica.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you being my guest.
Thank you so much for having me. I love watching.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. So I know you endured some brain trauma yourself.
Platform.
Thank you. So I appreciate that. I know you endured some brain trauma yourself, but I'll let you share that more in your own story. So get you to get my well, I gotta do it again. So let's welcome the other person, survivor changing the world, Tara. Tara Garlitz. Is that right? I pronounced it right?
That's right. Yeah,
Garlic,
Tara Garlitz. Yes.
also known as Tara.Speaks on Instagram. So look her up. But Tara, could you begin by introducing yourself and sharing your story about your brain trauma that you've experienced?
Okay, so mine is a little bit different in the fact that it wasn't a set that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? The reality of my brain really gonna never truly know what exactly happened to me, and I'll explain why in a moment. Doctors can do for me, and how we figured out what we need to do to move forward is bring back my history together.
Okay.
So what they suspect is back in all of 2018, I had just a whatever everyday little baby skin from my nose, and then that got infected, and they treated, and everything looked fabulous, and we just moved right on. And that was in the beginning, like right before. Then by Christmas, I was just getting so exhausted. I mean, I literally went early to go to work because I needed a half an hour to lay back down again once I got myself ready. I, went about my day and everything. And one day I was at work and passed out. I couldn't handle it anymore. So they took me to the doctors. And long story, what happened to me was 9 months of neurologist had missed 3 of my test results on a wild goose chase, and went down every other. Went to a doctor with my symptoms. They would say, "Have you had an MRI? Have you had an EE? Blah blah blah. And are these things?" And I would say yes, and they came back normal because that's what the doctor. But what happened was for 8 months, I literally laid on my, and doctors say now that I'm basically a miracle, because what happened, like people usually die from when they're in the hospital, and I got her in a lot of ways, but it was pure hell. It was horrible. I've had vertigo, like vertigo on steroids for like 200 straight, and I've written a book about it, and I break it down. I said 210 days, 40 hours. That's 302,400 minutes, 1,444 seconds, and every single one of me, because I couldn't stop spinning, and it was my head, and then my body swayed back and forth like you were in an ocean, and losing all of my stuff on my left side. I was unable to talk very well. I started having all these things, and I just kept going downhill. My eyes either, because it would make the spinning go on full on super drive, you know, which meant there was no distraction for me either, Erica. I couldn't watch TV because it would read a book. I couldn't go on my phone. I could do nothing but literally just sit. And it was a very dark moment time for me. And there was a period about a month and a half in where I was like, I can't do this. I had not one solitary break from spinning. And I did that point in time. And that night, just by the grace of God, honestly, into my mind and made me go, no, you know what? This is happening to me. And if I can find love within this spin, then I can find love, because this is torture. This is torture. And then and eventually what happened was I finally went to a subspecialist doctor, specialist, subspecialist, hospital. I mean, all kinds of tests, all going down the wrong path because of this missed data. And finally I said, I don't care what he said, I want to see it. And within 24 hours, hospital in the brain trauma center, and I was getting help for what I needed, you know. But share my story, people get upset with me and are like, well, what did you do with that doctor? Did you go and talk to that doctor? I have things now that remain from it. I mean, when the brain is affected, the brain, it doesn't just, you know, you very well know. And yeah, preaching to the choir. But the reality of it is I firmly believe, and I firmly believe that had he found that the test correctly, I would have been focused on healing, not on of myself within this hell that I was in. And I learned, see, my whole life, Erica, has been kind of a journey of self-acceptance. And I have a lot of other things. I'm sexual abuse. I've battled depression, anxiety, suicide, all these other things. I've had other things in my younger years, and then educated myself to go back and help people. In my older years, this happened to me. And what happened, what was so beautiful, I mean, I couldn't shut my eyes. I couldn't open my eyes no matter what I did. I just started to learn to go kind of into a trance. My eyes open, and what happened, because I wasn't focused on healing, I was focused on wandering to that moment and just finding love within the spin, that my brain was taken away. It literally was taken away from me. I couldn't process about things. It was literally, my brain was shutting down. So I was afraid. Everything I had learned and experienced on a heart-knowing level only, because my brain didn't work like it used to. So I couldn't think about things. I could only feel. It ended up being just a beautiful experience. And it's given me such new transformation on life and experiencing life. And I mean, I have seizure disorder now. My coordination is still off. My next tackle in physical therapy is learning to run again. So I'm excited to do that. And that was really exciting.
So cool.
I mean, I'm still like trying
to.
I can't work because it makes me want to puke still with my eyes. And you know, I have neurocognitive. My body sat with an infection for so long, where like my liver had a bad infection. I had to work with a specialist out of Chicago for that. My digestive tract, it was completely gone. In my diaphragm, because of pulling myself up for so long, not knowing what was, so all these things occurred, and they were but they were just beautiful, like moments for me to come from. Look at what I've learned during this, what other people would say a tragedy. I truly, I mean, it was hard. Don't get me wrong. It was hard. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, but it was hard. And it makes something negative.
Yes.
Hard just means hard. And about, and as you very well know, you have, I've heard it said before that when something hard comes our way, we can either become bitter or we can become
better.
Yeah. And like you chose better, and look at what you're doing here, the done. I mean, and that you're doing. I mean, it's amazing. You are changing simply because of a bullet. Like how many lives have been bullet, and had that bullet not gone, how many lives wouldn't be changed? And so they're not found. I mean, had that doctor found what was the right thing either. So it was hard, but it's become such an that that's what's moved me into becoming an empowerment, and going back and really it just really, I understand things way differently now.
Whole new world. It's like a lightning bolt. Yes. I see things so much clearer now. Like, oh, I get why you see before. Yeah, it's a whole new world. So.
Yes. Well, and I'm sure that you heard other people on your platform talk about it too. And I know it's just a common thing. Especially there was a 24-hour window when all I knew was and I didn't stop in all the chaos to ask what that meant, and wanted to know what it meant. But I remember sitting in the bed and saying, okay, God, I get it. If this is and doing the review of my life. And what I reckon that you have felt the same thing is, what I wasn't upset or I failed or that I didn't do it the right way, or I, full of myself, what I regretted was when I didn't live, when I didn't take that chance because I was afraid someone would think of me a certain way. When I didn't take the chance because I was scared. Those were the things that I regret at night. And so coming back around again, it doesn't, and and there's moments still today, because there was some activity I didn't know about on my account, and I got memory decided to go on me, boom, just like that, because you don't know when it's going to happen. Says,
you don't.
No, you don't. And she says, so what's your address? And I went, I don't know what my address. Could you tell me my address to the guy behind the desk? And he was just looking at, and I got in the car and I was kind of like, oh, the hard that we went through when it's in our face. You know what I mean?
Definitely know what you mean. But it's when you go through something like that, it makes you appreciate life so much more, and you see it from a whole different perspective. And so it's a part of the acceptance journey. And so part of your empowering women, is why do you target women and not men and women? What makes you draw more so women than putting available for all people or both women?
Originally I went to both, and on my Instagram page I still I'm doing, I just really felt obviously I've I see, and that has been my experience, and I thank you.
It's true.
And you know, and I just, you know, honestly, how what I regretted was that I didn't live in the moments when I decided, and I recognized when I looked back, you know, I dedicated myself like to everything outside of myself, to my children, to my work, to this, that, and everything all around me. I dedicated myself to, but I didn't. And that's when I recognized what we do. We're creators of life. We create everything around us, but we forget about it. And I think it's time for the queens to start remembering themselves.
Rise up, quit to rise up.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. And we need us to rise up too. Yes.
I love it. This is part of the empowerment side.
Yeah, this is part of it. Yes, ma'am.
So, tell me, with empowerment, is it? Do you think it's like an innate thing that automatically, like, it's something you automatically know how to do, or do you teach women how to empower themselves? Like, I guess, the affirmations, or do you give them like strategies on how to do certain things?
Right. This is why what happened to me was so important, and why I kind of went into it a little lengthy. So, you know, there's a big movement, whether no matter what camp you're looking at, you know, change your mindset, go inward, you know. But what we're not doing is what I learned during that time when for me, because you see, I could, when we come up with a concept, we put it through our brains. And the reality of our brain is, I learned the role of it. And the brain is not meant to conceive of anything. The brain, anything it has not already experienced. So, for instance, tell me about an animal you've never seen ever before. Immediately, your brain starts thinking of all the animals it's ever seen, right? Pull a beak from this one, and a tail from that one, and feathers from this one, and what animal, because the brain can only experience the patterns, but it's the heart, our creativity, our soul, our imagination opens to new things. So when we start talking about changing our minds and doing the affirmations and doing all of this, that's wonderful, you know, but that's what we focus on. We focus on everything. If I could just get this, if I figure out over here, this and here will happen, I'll feel a certain way from this. That's all on the outside. And what I learned is our power is really on the inside. People are saying, right? So let's go inward. But what we're doing is the same communication and the same thought patterning on the inside, outside. And when I was in my whole brain stuff, when I literally could not think anymore, I felt things. I understand. It's a total different communication. It'd be like somebody going to Pakistan and saying, I'm going to interact with the people in Pakistan, and I'm going to the most perfective, let me try this again. Perfect experience that I can. But I'm not going to learn how to understand their culture, and I'm going to interact the same way I interact when I'm over there. This experience. So what I learned is it's a whole nother way of communicating and experiencing when we go inward. So when I do empowerment with my clients, we learn what is the different side versus the inside. So for instance, fear. Side, and we're focusing outwardly, we experience fear. But when we move inwardly and we connect to our inwardness, what that I'm not ready. It means I'm not ready. So even if you just say to yourself versus, I'm not ready for that. You have so much more power with yourself with the I'm not ready for that. And that's why I don't want to go there, that, but you're coming from your power then. You're coming from the inside with the correct language, stand your power from the inside. And then that gives you the ability to go at the outside differently. So it's a really incredible, call it consciousology. I think that's what I did during my brain infection period. That I think heart learning and studying about how we tick and how we learn about it. So I love to watch people go, oh, wait a minute. That's right. Yeah.
Is there a set, like, I guess, protocol that, so say for example, in 6 weeks you will be able to do X, Y, and Z, and you will have experienced X, Y, and Z? Is there a protocol like that? Because I see that a lot. I see that a lot, that they coaches and other people have things like that. Say after 8 weeks you'll be able to do this whole list of things. Do you have something like that as well?
See, and that's coaches, because a lot of them is they are focusing on the outward. Weeks you will be able to do da da da, or you will be able to feel blah 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 about this. They're very much about changing the outward. And again, I'm all about coming back and understanding our power, giving it that voice. So what I do is, sorry.
So you go deeper. This is more internal. You go deeper.
Yes.
Okay.
I go deeper. Yeah, I go deeper with it. Learn a different language. We learn the language of the soul. You can't use the mind, the language, when you're working with the heart.
Oh, that's right.
It's a different language. It's a different language. But that's trying to use the mind language with our heart, and that's why we're just a little skewed on it. To answer your question is, my program runs for 21 weeks. The reason why I chose that is, sorry?
I was repeating what you said, 21 weeks.
Yes, 21 weeks. And the reason why I do 21 weeks is because number one, I've tweaked a lot, and I realized that it works the best. And then there's a lot of study that says it takes 21 days to change a behavior. Exactly. And what I'm doing, like you said, other coaches are helping for things and feel different and have different experiences on the outside. And I'm providing the environment for you to transform inside. So we're just not. So we look at things one time a week. So that's why it's 25.
Okay. So does it also work with your confidence? Is that?
Yes.
It's inward. So so confidence, self-esteem,
it helps you feel unstuck, because a lot of times, we'll be doing good or a little bit stuck. It helps with being unstuck. It increases your vitality. It really, you can focus on changing all this stuff out here, or you on changing how you decide to interact with it. And so going back to my example of, oh my God, I'm afraid, I'm not ready for that. Yes. There's a lot more confidence in that second piece. You're still in the exact same situation, but you're in power when you say, because now you can go, okay, so what is it that I need to do to get ready for that? Oh my God, I'm so afraid of that. I'm so afraid of that. So you are in power. So that just automatically gives you more confidence. The stresses in life don't go away, but what it allows you to do, act with it differently.
Yes.
It learned for all of it. It teaches you to step back and say, okay, that's how I'm experiencing that on the outside, one side, and what does it really mean for me? So it changes everything.
You have to process it. You still have to process it, and I know for me, when something doesn't make sense, I have to break it down to understand to where I can understand it. How you may understand something, I may understand the same way. I may understand it differently, but I gotta make it make sense for myself. And I think the same way, I guess, it's a learning thing. Like even when you're in school, everyone learns differently. Everyone processes differently. We're all different, and so you have to break it down and process to how you process it. So how someone might be empowered might not be how someone else can be empowered. So I think, do you have different tactics, like different people, or is it? I know it's probably the same blueprints, but like people don't adapt the same way. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's so beautiful during my time period, my struggle. It's because what is when I coach people, and I'm not teaching them a way to do something. I'm saying to you, let's go inside of you, Erica. How does this, and all I'm doing is showing you the language to use, that language, and your own answers start bubbling up. There's not one person who does, and that's what makes it, not one client that has the same reaction as another one, because we're all different.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's all thanks to my shoes.
You mentioned live quite a few times. So what is living to you, not just beyond the brain trauma you had to deal with? What is living like? Does living empower you to do greater exploits, or like what does living mean to you?
So to me, it means
say it one more time.
Experiencing. Like
to
me, living means experiencing things, because it doesn't matter what your religious or spiritual thoughts are or anything, but we've come here from somewhere, somehow or another. We're all here now. This is the area of physical, like this apparatus. I had to come inside my physical apparatus, like like a space suit to experience space, right? Well, I had to come inside this physical apparatus to experience this, and once I leave, I mean, for the love of God, I can't even sit in a chair anymore. You never think when someone, I promise you, I can't promise you, but more than likely, Liv, nobody's going to talk about sitting in a chair, okay? Because they're sitting in a chair. But the reality of it is chair to climbing a mountain to having an argument to tasting a new food, whether I loved it or I hated it, to feel a raindrop on my hand, to feel a needle of myself, from good to bad, it's experiencing, and that's what I want to do. That's what I want everyone to do. I want us just to start seeing our life.
Yes. You exude so much joy and so much like peace. Like I just picked it up in your aura. It's just like very peaceful and happy and bubbly.
Thank
And
you.
it's just beautiful. It's refreshing to see someone so joyful. We live
No,
in a world with so much going on. And it's hard to find joy sometimes. But you just didn't.
oh,
And I'm not saying you to go through things, but it doesn't show. I think it's beautiful that you don't allow it to dictate your mood. You not dictate your life. And so I think it's very important. It's also part of the empowerment. So what's your morning ritual like?
my my morning.
Ritual.
So yeah, my morning ritual. La, la, la.
Yeah, talk to us there.
So let me really quick just to piggyback on what you said before my morning ritual. You know, I'm human, obviously, and have sometimes I'm not experiencing joy, but what I learned was I'm perfectly good when I'm upset, to be in pain. It's okay to be lost. It's okay. And you talk about the peace, it's because of it's okay, because it's all an experience. And so my morning ritual is really truly just getting back to that connection that I discovered, because it's very easy, as you very something that's life changing, and we have all these wonderful things, and then boom, we can get right back into life on us again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So every morning, my ritual is to get back during that time period, and my balance is not very good anymore. In my yoga, I do some yogas, and I have a natural shake about me now too, and so my yoga, it looks like this.
But you embraced it. You embraced it, and it's beautiful.
Yes, yoga. Yes, and then I do a morning meditation, and then I have. But every morning I have what my kids call my crack juice, because electrolytes and spirulina and things, but they call it my crack juice. Running low, I'm like, oh my God, where is it? I need it. I need that. I need that for my mom. It's like you're on crack with that stuff. So I have my crack. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
So what's your balance, like your work-life balance with your kids, your family? And you don't have little children, but you have teenagers or older kids?
Older kids. My youngest just turned 20 yesterday.
I
have two girls in the middle, and they're 24, 23, and 20.
They're 3 years. Okay.
So yeah, they're all older, all grown and flown, but they're older. But they're always they'll be 85, and I'll be up in heaven looking down, going, look at my babies. Yeah.
So yeah, your book. Your book. So let's talk about your book. Just briefly talk about your book. Do you have a copy?
I have two books. Yeah, but the
I saw one.
Yeah, well,
The harness.
I have three, but I'm not doing the third one. I'm not selling the third one anymore, but I have one called The Road You Were Meant to. That one before
The Road to
The Road You Were Meant to Travel.
Oh, The Road You Were Meant to Travel. That's a beautiful title.
Yes, thank you.
I like
very much, and it's all about. I wrote. I did not choose the easiest road in life.
Who does? Who does?
Yeah, right. I guess that would be boring, right? But so it's our road. It's your road. Your road was your road, So it's all about. But this one is the one I wrote regarding
this one I saw
everything I went through. It's called. Oops, I can't get it right. Harness to Heals, and then you can't see it very well in here, but right down here it says Finding Love
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw it. Okay.
That's that's the spin that I'm about, how because I was spinning so bad.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's called From Harness to Heels is because I started, you know all the therapies you go through.
Oh,
and
yeah.
no shy to therapy, right? We know therapies. Yes. So my vestibular and my PT, they told me that and they told me that I needed to create a goal. And I said, and they said, okay, Tara, that's a nice one, more of a realistic goal. And I said, y'all can do whatever you want. I hear in heels. And they didn't think I was ever going to be completely discharged. About 10 months in, they said, I think we're going to discharge you. This is crazy. And so my showed up, and they were only like this big, but I showed up with heels on, Eric. I was walking my heels.
I've never seen it before, ever.
I know. This is my first book, my first page, and it says, hi, my name is Tara. That's my harness. This is the story of everything in between. So
that's beautiful.
That's what it is. First year that it happened, I don't, as I'm sure you can attest to, it's like a void. I don't have very many memories from that year. It's not even that I don't have memories. It's just void, But I do have my neurologist. I went to a new neurologist and I loved her. She was fabulous. And she was like, you told me you wrote before. And I said, yes. And she said, I want you to start writing again. Cognitive issues you have. That would be really good. So what I did is I took 10 situations that I remembered during that year. And I wrote the 10 down, and then after I learned about them. So it is my real raw experience of what I went through. It is. I do not sugarcoat anything about it all. But then it's about what I learned from it and how I kind of became talking to today.
Okay, it's from harness to heal.
Yes.
Heels. Okay. So I love the title. I'm like, remember I saw that song? I didn't get the title at first. I'm like, but now talking to you, it makes so much sense. From harness to heal. So I heals. So I like that. I love that. I have to get it and read it. It sounds so interesting.
I will give it. If anybody wants one, I will give anyone listening to this. I'll do a special that I will send this free to them, and they can just contact you or me, and we'll get it out to them. Just for here, just for this.
So nice. This so here. I love it. So nice. That's so nice. Wow.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. I've never had to do it before, but that's so kind. And I mean, it's our stories are not just meant for us to have. I mean, of course, we go through it ourselves. Our families go through it. It's not just us to go through it, but it's for other people as well. You never know. You never know who you're touching with your story, and they don't say anything. So you have a lot of people that don't say a thing, but it doesn't mean it affect them. So
absolutely,
it's beautiful. So it's beautiful. I thank you.
Well, and I thank you, and I love that you're. What you're doing is simple on so many levels, Erica, because not only are you showing and inspiring those who are going through something, but you're changing of brain issues. You're showing that we're on the hospital bed. We're beyond the we're beyond all of that, and so you're showing a new face, And you're allowing us, and I think you are allowing us to say, I claim I am within this injury. And that's a swallow when you're going through it.
Oh, huh. Say no more.
chokes. Yes, exactly. That one chokes and hurts. But on the other side space, for me to feel important, that that pain, that struggle that I went through, that rocked me, like literally rocked me. It was, it was not for nothing. And
no, it was not.
But you're allowing us to experience that. And so I thank you greatly.
You're very welcome. We're experiencing life together. How about that? We're experiencing life together.
All right. Let's do it. I'm all in.
So what's next for you? Another book?
I'm a bit of I've learned to be a bit of a Mary Poppins umbrella and see where the wind takes me.
Mary Poppins.
I know that my journey is meant to share my story, allow others to benefit from what I learned without having to go through to learn it, and so I'll see where it takes. But wherever it is, I'm going to experience it.
That's right. I love that. I love it. Let's get on the end on.
That's it. Yes.
I love that. I just love your energy overall. I just love your whole energy. It's such a it's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's beautiful.
Well, I appreciate that. And right back to you, someone's energy, you have to be able to go there. So if you're experiencing mine is beautiful too. So right back at you.
I
Queen,
appreciate that.
my other girl, it's time for us to go and Queens unite. Oh my gosh, we have like matching blue. I didn't even notice.
I saw that. That's so funny.
That's too funny. We got the blue memo.
The blue memo. You were in alignment.
Yes,
you were in alignment. You understood this time. You understood this assignment.
There you go. Perfect. But I'm so thankful for you having me on here.
Thank you for sharing your story and being vulnerable and just bringing your joy that you've exuded through this whole episode. And I know I can help. You cannot smile looking at you. You can't. You cannot smile. So thank you for your energy. So
thank you.
But tell me they connect with you on Instagram and your handles and your coaching services.
I'm sorry.
Tell me back they can connect with you like through your coaching services and
yeah. It clicked out for some reason when you said that. So yeah, no worries. Send me on Instagram at Tara.Speaks, or they can go to my website, the Inner Paths, like you have there. And I actually just started a brand new prize book called In Her Power. It's called In Her Power, and I made it private so that way it can be a safe community. I just want it to be where women can go and be vulnerable and just blossom together in a supportive environment. So you can find me in all of those.
I love that. So are you on YouTube, by the way, also, or
not yet? I will get there.
Okay.
Part of my problem is, stay tuned, but part of my problem is I still can't go on a computer because of the damage from my visual cortex. It gives me seizures.
Oh, no.
It gives me seizures. So it's a little hard on me. I need to go back to 1972, but that's okay.
Sorry.
So slow but sure, I will get there.
Sorry. You said 1972? You were so funny.
Well, there wasn't a computer back then, so it would have been easier.
Oh goodness. Well, I've enjoyed having you today. I've had so many laughs, so many laughs shared. So thank you all for doing. Thank you all for doing today's episode. Thank you for today's episode. Hope you learned. I hope you're empowered. Hope you learn more about Tara. Um, I thank you all for tuning in. I know this wasn't advertised as much as it normally is. So things happened today that did not were not planned, but we brought the punches, and you never know what's gonna happen when on this journey. So just roll with it, and we connected. So we're here. So thank you for joining and watching the episode. Remember, you can connect with me on Instagram at Erica R. Walker 878 and on YouTube Erica Renee Walker. And be sure to tune in next week for another story or empowerment or triumph. I'm Erica Renee. Remember, we all have a story, and you too can change the world with yours. See y'all later. Bye.
Bye.